everything in my father's lifetime. Not just forests, not just life in the oceans, and not just animals, but 60% of everything within our biosphere. There are species my parents saw that I will never see in the wild. We are losing 200 species a day. The rate of extinction that has happened over the last 100 years would normally have taken 10,000. The reason I know so much more about climate collapse than my friends at school is because of my father. He likes to tell me about it so I understand what could happen in my future. My school and teachers know about some of the issues as we have asked, but they are doing nothing to teach us about it. We need climate collapse and our potential extinction to be at the heart of every lesson and every action the school makes. But at the moment it is nowhere. The amount of single-use plastic my school uses is absolutely horrifying. There are mountains and mountains of plastic piling up in the bins at the end of break and lunchtime. They are full of single-use knives and forks, containers, plastic bottles and sheets. This is because it is cheaper for the school to buy these items than it is for them to pay for somebody to wash the metal cutlery. In one of my classes, we are taking a trip to the city centre. It is only a mile's walk and my teachers have decided to make us use a coach. They are doing this because it is apparently safe for us. Not truthfully. The coach will damage our little lungs for practically the rest of our lives. Also, walking won't emit any carbon into the atmosphere, whereas getting a coach would. So much for being safe. The BBC are not covering this terrible situation enough. Earlier yesterday, I was speaking to one of my teachers and I told her that I was coming to speak at the Extinction Rebellion protest. She said well done to me and that she was thankful that I was doing it, and I explained to her why I was doing it, and she replied to me with, "That is a really good thing to be doing, as the BBC are very biased towards their own beliefs." I love the BBC and I love to watch the programmes that they put on their television channels. I particularly enjoy watching the programmes about wildlife, but to save the wildlife we all love so much, they need to start changing so I would like to finish by saying that I think it would be fun and incredibly enjoyable to live to the end of my natural life.
Thank you so much, Scarlett. I think it's amazing that we're here hearing the voices of our young people. I think it's clear that Extinction Rebellion is being mirrored in the school strikes that are happening all across the world today and have been happening every Friday. So I'd like to ask another young person to come and speak to us, and I think they might give us a song. This is Asha.
We've got young people talking.
Hi, my name's Asher and I'm 12 years old, and I took the time off school today to support this cause. I'm very passionate about saving the world and my future, and I wrote a song today to show how passionate I am about this. This is called "If You Want to Save the World," and I'm sorry for using my phone. I only just wrote this morning, so.
And in jeopardy,
should take the blame. Don't be a stranger. Have you ever stood to think it begins with me? Have you ever stood to think it begins with you? If you wanna save the world, it starts with me, with you. If you wanna save it all, it starts with me, with you. Oh, it starts with me, with you. Oh, it starts with me, with you. If there's love in your heart, there'll be love in your soul. If there's love in your soul, there'll be love in your home. If there's love in your home, there'll be love in the streets. If there's love in the streets, there'll be love in the world. We can save it now. If you wanna save the world, it starts with me, with you. If you wanna save it all, it starts with me, with you. Ooh, it starts with me, with you. Ooh. If you wanna save the world, it starts with me, with you. Thank you.
I think I'm not the only one who was moved to tears by Asher Menon just then. Can we just take a moment to grieve for the lives already lost by climate change and the lives that we are set to lose to climate change? Should we just take a moment to take that beautiful, inspiring, powerful song into our hearts? Thank you, Asher Menon. Can we get a massive round of applause? So I think art has been a huge part of the Extinction Rebellion. We are seeing inspiring, powerful creativity on our streets over the last months. And we've got some more people who have disrupted round the back of the BBC. So if we could have 10 people go and support those people who've now made another disruption around the back of the BBC, that would be amazing. If 10 people want to go out, can I see some hands? Maybe an affinity group that's been to a training. Okay, great, I see some hands, so they're going to go and support those people now. So now we've got Angela from the African Women's Group, who is going to talk to you about why she's here today. So can we get a big round of applause for Angela?
You okay?
Speak to us.
Great. Do you want me to hold the mic?
Yeah, that's all right. Okay. I am Angela from All Africa Women's Group.
Woo!
We are a group of asylum seekers, refugees, fighting for our rights to stay in UK. We are mainly from Africa, but we have women in our group from Asia, Caribbean, East Europe, and South Latin America. We organize together for our survival in UK and against destitution, detention, and deportation. We come together every 2 weeks to share our victories and work on our cases using collective self-help. Those of us who have been forced to leave our homes didn't do it easily. We had to run away from war, destitution, environmental disasters, corporate land grab, and other catastrophes which the Western have helped to cause. In many countries, our communities have been long organized of survival, and those struggles are often led by women. But our direction, action, survival, work is often unrecognized, even though without it, in our societies, would be wiped off. This month in Thailand, great mothers led a walk protest against the theft of their land farm for cash crops like palm oil. In India, substance women farmers fought against Monsanto generation engineering seeds, which would be wipe of their seeds bank and indigenous crops. In Bolivia, grassroots movements stopped the Bethel company for privatizing their water. All over Africa, substance farmers are women, 70% of them, and are resistant land grabs and mining, which pollute the destruction of farming, while the multinational like Shell Oil make billions but refuse to compensate. Trillions have been stolen from Africa, starting from the million of people during slavery, and that theft goes on right now until the present day. We women are often overlooked, but it is our caring that makes this world better and more bearable for everyone. And there is many struggle which we women internationally are winning and which others can learn from us. We are very glad to be with Extinction Rebellion today. It is part of a long tradition of direct action, and we defend the land, we defend our lives, and we know that by organizing the work together, we can defend the land. And the oceans, and save the planet, all the life itself. Allez, continue.
Thank you so much, Angela. So I think we have some more young people in the crowd, perhaps someone called Hester. So if they want to come up to the front and introduce yourself, that'd be great. We can get you to speak as well. Now we're going to have someone called Sarah. Can you introduce yourself, Sarah, and say who you are? Thank you so much. Yeah, all right, great.
Hi, I'm Sarah Green. I'm from Save Colne Valley. Colne Valley is... Hi. Colne Valley is West London. We are London, and our nature reserves and our water resources are being destroyed today. In January, they are going to start... There is illegal water that is seeping into the water supply, and one pumping station has been closed since 1997, that's Ickenham pumping station. Where they're pile driving now will implicate the main water supplies. Now, 2 of us got arrested on the 11th of December for insisting on knowing where the impact assessment is for this water supply. There is no impact assessment that's available to the public. We've been... Thank you. Well, exactly. We have been charged with aggravated trespass, and we've been told that if we're found guilty of that, they will invoke the injunctions, which means they can take all of our worldly assets and they can put us in prison for 2 years. Thank you. This is London. This is how the British government is treating the indigenous people here. I'm asking for a call out. I'm asking for people to come to the Uxbridge Magistrates Court on the 9th of January. Please show that we demand the right to protect our water supplies and to see what is in place in regards to protection of our water supplies. There should be no secrecy here. It should be public knowledge, and we have the right to not only protect the water supplies, but our nature reserves. At the moment, all of our wetland nature reserves will be destroyed by HS2. Well, if we are to prevent the worst of climate change, we have to protect the best of our mitigation for climate change, which is our remaining nature reserves and our remaining water supplies. Please help us stand together with Save Colne Valley and Stop HS2, 9th of January, Uxbridge Magistrates Court. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Let's get a massive round of applause for everything they're doing out there. Let's get a massive round of noise for everything we've done today, disrupting the BBC here.
I would like to express my solidarity with the Extinction Rebellion, for BBC has to tell the truth and not demonize the people, climate activists. Dear friend, I'm here to speak about the global coal management. There is a British-based coal management company and London-based company and listed in the AIM, London Alternative Share Market, and they are going to implement a massive open pit mine in northern part of Bangladesh. If the project is implemented, 130,000 families will be displaced. If the project is implemented, 14,000 hectares of arable cultivable land will be destroyed. If the project is implemented, 50,000 water bodies will be destroyed. And the coal is a bit deeper. They have to irrigate 35 years to make the area dry, waterless. That will bring huge climate catastrophic situation that will create huge suffering for Bangladesh. This GCM, they are going to hold their annual general meeting on 28 December, and we will be there. We will not let it pass unchallenged. We are coming. We will not, you know, our friend, in 2006 in Bangladesh, there was an upsurge against the GCM. The name was Asia Energy. They killed 3 people. They injured more than 200 people. But recently they did a memorandum of understanding with the China. They want to bring Big Brother to forcibly displace people and implement the project. And another dangerous thing in Bangladesh, the world's largest mangrove forest is Sundarban, situated in Bangladesh. Bangladesh government and India jointly going to implement a coal-based power plant within the 14 kilometers of the forest. and approved more than 300 industrial plots that will destroy world's largest mangrove forest. Dear friend, we want your support to hold the demo on 28 December. It is here. This is Cavendish Square. It is 33 Cavendish Square, W1GOPW. It will be held here. We are coming. We need your support to come here. And I want to say one more thing. BBC, they have a world service. They have a Bangla world service as well for the Bengali people. And Bengali in Bangladeshi people who watch BBC and the BBC World Service, Bangla service, they don't cover our news. BBC Bangla, BBC Bangla service, they don't cover our news. We do, when we've been doing this demo for many years, they don't cover our news. By doing this, they are actually serving the corporate polluter, environmental polluter. We want to see BBC Bangla service, whether you are going to publish our news of the 28 demo against the full body open pit mine. We want to see, if you don't do this, the Bengali diaspora will come to BBC again to publish Bengali news about the climate news. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's get a huge round of applause. And it seems like the BBC staff are starting to look at what's going on out here, so let's remind them why we're here. BBC, tell the truth. 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 BBC, tell the truth.
Hi everybody, hope you're enjoying those talks. We've had loads of people do some amazing talks and two very brave students who are just 11 and 12, one really powerful speech and then an amazing song. It was absolutely beautiful. Everyone was so moved. So just to show you, hi everyone who's just joined us, we are outside the BBC in London, in Marylebone. We are shouting as loud as we can to make sure they listen to us. So one of the biggest things we need them to do, the biggest thing we need them to do right now is to put climate change on the top of their agenda. It needs to be a priority. That's one of our main aims. That's why everyone's here today. If you can't be here, don't worry about it. You can tell the BBC in loads of different ways. You can WhatsApp them. You can send them a text. You can call them. You just need to tell them basically that you want to see climate change on the headlines. We want to see documentaries. We want them to tell the truth. If you've got any questions, send them in right now.
We've got to start it today.
And there have been loads of actions happening all across the country today, and there's one in Berlin, which is amazing. I think there are some people who are taking action around the back of the BBC as well.
BBC, you've got to tell the truth.
So amazing to see brave students out here today. So if you've not read about it, look up Greta. She's striking every Friday for the climate.
To be subtle with the nation. Subtle with the nation. Cause we've been broken-hearted.
See if we can chat to some people.
Why is this not a daily headline report?
that are going to protect our land.
It's scary, isn't it? And if one thing could happen at the end of today, if the BBC could do one thing, what would that be?
Just start reporting about what's actually happening, like the species that are being lost every day. Just bring awareness. Awareness is just doing
and tell us what we can do and what we can all, what we can all say and do. Yeah. Thank you for being here. Take care. Have a good day. Well done. Okay, so we've got some music playing now. Give me a wave. Hopefully you can hear it. And so there are loads of families here today and loads of little kids, which is just amazing and so moving. Absolutely gorgeous. These guys, amazing. We got another baby.
Yeah.
Big, cute, beautiful, beautiful babies. Hello. And amazing signs. Do you want to tell me a bit why you're here today?
Yeah, we're really passionate about what Extinction Rebellion is doing. We think we really need to achieve carbon zero by 2025. It's a massive change from what the government's doing at the moment. So I think it's amazing, this direct action, and we want to do everything we can to support the great work that XR is doing. It's a really fantastic organisation and stepping up beyond what other NGOs are doing. So we really believe in this, and we want to make the change not just in this country but around the world to save our species, but also all the other species as well from going extinct in our lifetime, which is insane, really.
Very crazy to think about that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's amazing you've brought your kids here.
Yeah, we're really happy to be here.
Thank you so much. What's the one thing you want the BBC to kind of do today?
To acknowledge that what crisis this is, and stop being silly about having balance on this. There's only one set of facts. So you've got to focus on telling the story and making people aware of the risk that we are in as a species. So they need to wake up, really.
I am hoping something happens at the end of the day.
Yes.
One of the chiefs could come out and talk to us. That would be amazing.
Oh, great.
That's great.
That would be good.
Well, no, it's not. That's not happening. That would be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant. Thank
Anyway.
you so much for talking to. Do you want to say anything, or?
No, just that this cause is much urgent. It's very urgent, and we really need to act now. And I know it's like a subject that might sound a bit boring for most people, but like it's something really serious. It's so serious, and just go on and on about Brexit. There's something so much more serious than that going on, and we know
it should be headline news.
Yes, it should be, and people should know that, because if people know what's going on, then
they can make decisions, can't they? And
Yes.
they can put pressure on the government. I completely agree.
Yes.
You guys should be spokespersons. Thank you so much,
Keep up the
Peter.
good work
Thank
as
you.
well.
Keep
Thanks.
warm. Thank you. Take care. Amazing people there with their kids.
This is the biggest cover-up that there has ever been in British history.
So I'm gonna try and get a bit closer to the talks again.
Every single one of us has got a role in covering this. I'm just going to have a very quick canter through what's been covered up, some examples of what's been covered up. Then I've got to briefly mention about some complaints I'm taking through the BBC's complaints process. They're now on to Ofcom. Ofcom was made the regulator of the BBC back in April 2017 because the BBC could not be trusted to regulate itself. So, first time I picked up on this, November 2001, the United Nations Environment Programme published detailed peer-reviewed research that showed that what the effects of 2 degrees Celsius of warming would have on agricultural production. And they said billions face hunger and starvation, not covered by the BBC. 2004, the World Health Organization, very respected public body, produced its research that showed that 150,000 people a year were being killed by climate change, not covered by the BBC. In May 2009, Kofi Annan, a former Secretary General of the UN, he set up a humanitarian body called the Global Humanitarian Forum, and he arranged for a lot more research to be done into the effects of climate change. And he said that his body said that 315,000 people have been killed by climate change every year, and people seriously affected by climate change were 325 million people a year, not covered by the BBC.
In September 2012, a Spanish body, NGO, produced a heck of a lot of detailed research. You can see it all online. It's called DARA International, and they produced a heck of a lot of detailed research, and they said that by far and away the most vulnerable group when it comes to climate change, the people who have been killed in the largest number, are very, very young people. They said that 360,000 infants under the age of 1 year were being killed every year by climate change. The increased spread of disease is a major factor in this, not covered by the BBC. How dare they keep that from the public? How dare you do that, BBC? People have a right to know. If children have been killed in the likes of 360,000 a year, how dare they do that?
How dare they?
How dare they? So now, the socially progressive papers, Independent, Guardian, they produce a lot of detailed, they give you a lot of information on climate change, everything in connection with it. Up to sort of 2016, 2017, they were giving the public a lot more information about the climate feedbacks. This is something, things like albedo in the Arctic, releasing melting permafrost, releasing methane, very, very frightening stuff. When people talk about extinction, this is what they're referring to. But the BBC didn't cover it. Now, the Independent produced one particular report in which they said, you can look it up online, in 2016, game over. It's game over. Now, a public sector organised, a public service broadcaster, if they see that in the other media, they should at least be thinking in terms of, well, maybe the public are worried about this. Maybe we should explain it to the public, help them to understand what the various climate feedbacks are, what the various tipping points are, and help them to understand whether this is real or whether it's dangerous. I assure you it's very, very, very real. And they have not done that. They have not told the public about the tipping points and the climate feedbacks. They still cover that up. Now, since Ofcom became the regulator, I've put a lot of time and effort into this work. So I'm going to have a canter through, since they've been the regulator, give you a few surprising pieces of news now. In June 2017, the Bank of England produced financial risk assessment for the financial services sector about the risks connected with climate change. It's all online, you can see all the material. And they specifically warned on page 103 of their June 2017 report about the risks of the climate feedbacks. They said that we don't know how quickly they'll hit us, we don't know how bad it will be, but if it does, your industry needs to be aware, because that will reduce carbon budgets and it decreases the amount of stranded assets that you suffer. Now, that's the Bank of England. That is the Bank of England warning people about the impact on their pension funds, not covered by the BBC. September 2017 was immediately after the terrible hurricane season that pummeled the Caribbean. Now, by sheer coincidence, there was a UN General Assembly meeting immediately afterwards, after Hurricane Maria had pummeled Dominica, and a number of Prime Ministers, figures from the Caribbean turned up at the UN General Assembly, and the Prime Minister of Dominica said that we have permanently altered the climate between the tropics of Capricorn and Cancer, and this could spell the end of life, people living in the Caribbean. And he said that his island was on the front line of climate change. One of the next speakers up was Darren Henfield of the Bahamas, the Foreign Minister of the Bahamas, and he said we had to evacuate unprecedented numbers of people in the Caribbean. He said, what comes next? The entire evacuation of everybody from the Caribbean. Now the general public have no idea how bad the situation is, but the world scientists know exactly how bad the situation is, and they're contemplating some very nasty things. In October, 9th to 12th of October 2017, they had a major conference on geoengineering. Now, I reckon I don't have to tell anybody here just how bad that idea is, but let me just make this abundantly clear, because the BBC haven't told you. The front runner on this is something that is a technology that mimics the effects of volcanoes. Very powerful volcanoes. If you have to reduce the temperature of planet Earth by 2 degrees or 3 degrees Celsius, the most incredibly powerful record, the archaeological record, shows that that is connected with a tremendous reduction of sunlight reaching ground level in northern Europe, in Russia and Canada. Now, if you go back to when there was last a very, very powerful volcano about 1500 years ago, that is connected with famine here in London. There is a mass grave in London where everybody there that died from starvation, and that is the year after that very powerful volcano. That is connected with the abandonment settlements in Iceland, in other parts of Scandinavia, and in Russia. Now, it's absolutely insane that people, the general public, are not allowed to know just how desperate this situation is. And it's crazy that scientists are actually talking about doing this stuff, and they never report a word of it, not a word of it. Now, December 2017. Now, December 2017, he's not a very popular man at the moment, but President Macron of France was very, very worried about climate change. He organised a conference in Paris in December 2017. Our Prime Minister, Theresa May, was invited to it. It's called the One Planet Conference. At that conference, he said to leaders, we have got to get serious about climate change. We've got to tackle it. And he said that if we don't, there will be billions of victims. Billions of victims. Not reported, not one single word of it. And our Prime Minister was there. Now it gets frightening. Now it gets frightening. Now it gets frightening. In January 2018, Davos meeting is the meeting every year of the World Economic Forum, where the global elite turn up and listen to all the issues of great concern to them. And every year they produce a report on what the greatest security risks are. There were four on the top of the list. One was the risk of nuclear war with North Korea. All the other three were connected with climate change. And the attendees there were given a series of presentations. Again, all this stuff's online. And one of the key messages that was given to the global elite was the risk around climate change and the sudden impact that it could have on global agricultural production. Because if you get just a couple of serious shocks in America or in Russia, China, India, then very suddenly the nations of the world will decide not to share food. They won't trade food, and there could be a sudden collapse in the global food production, in the global food trade. And so as a consequence, the global elite were warned about this. They were told that this is a very, very serious threat. We have got to get serious about climate change. Not a word about it. The global elite get to hear about this threat. We don't. We don't. In March 2018, a government minister, in a written answer to a question from an MP, said that climate change represents an existential threat. So the government ministers know that this is an existential threat, not covered by the BBC. In May 2018, the government issued a notice for parliamentarians about geoengineering and said that they vigorously oppose it. For the reasons I've told you about a collapse in food supply here in the UK, quite right that the government should oppose it. But it's essential that the public know what is being considered, what is going on behind the scenes, what politicians are talking about. That was May 2018, not covered by the BBC. Now, I took 3 complaints through the BBC's process. And one of them was about the fact that in July 2018 there was a UN Security Council conference on climate change. And the UK is a permanent member of the UN Security Council, and they were talking about climate migration, about the number of climate refugees who will be forced out of their homes and forced to travel around the world. Not covered by the BBC. Now, I was working through the BBC's complaints process, and I was aware that the UN Secretary General in September had asked all the broadcasting corporations of the world to convey a message from him to the people of the world. And on the 10th of September, he delivered that message. Now, I knew this was coming up, and I contacted the BBC and said, look, this major speech is coming up. Can you make sure that it's covered? And I had the email addresses of editors and what have you. So I got in touch, and I knew that they would not cover it. it. And sure enough, he delivered his speech and it wasn't covered. Now, this was the speech in which he said that climate change represents a direct existential threat and we face the risk of runaway climate change. Now, the BBC said, oh, well, all right, you know, but at least we put it online. And I noticed that when they did put it online, they removed those words, direct existential threat, but not covered at all on the TV or radio. Now, I know I've got to wrap up here. The BBC will tell you, well, look, there's been an absolute storm of protest across the summer from a range of people. I see Sue Hampton here, who did a brilliant article in the Ecologist newspaper about the BBC's terrible coverage of climate change. Please look that up and read her article. But there's been a storm of protest, and the BBC has promised to change. It's promised to become a better organisation. But since those promises were delivered, we've had the IPCC report on 1.5 degrees Celsius, and they gave wall-to-wall coverage about that report. But The Guardian gave a different report. They said about what the detail that was in the full 1,000-page version of the report, and that includes all the stuff to do with the tipping points and runaway climate change. So the BBC never covered that. They put climate change, the headline, if you like, is on the TV and radio news, but the detail, the really frightening detail, is still kept from the public. And you know, when David Attenborough stood up on, was at COP24, and he said, we risk the collapse of civilization. Normally the BBC, if they're having a discussion on the main TV or radio news, something like that, they have their correspondent in it and they discuss it in great detail and they analyse it. Well, they never did that with David Attenborough, never did that at all. And the point about it is that they are desperate to try and avoid frightening the public. Now, during the complaints that I took through the BBC's process, there's one crucial piece of information that came out there, and that's the director of complaints in here, Colin Tregear. And he said to me in an email that I said that the BBC was covering up this information, and he said that I understand why you think we are covering it up, but we have not breached our standards. Now, that came back to me twice. That came back to me twice, and on the second time I read it, I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, what is he telling me here? I think what he's telling me here is, I understand why you think we're covering it up, because we are covering it up. And we're not breaching our broadcasting standards, because I think the broadcasting standards actually say we must not frighten the public. Yeah. That's what I think is going on. Yeah. So I started off thinking this is just political bias, this is political corruption, if you like. Well, I tell you what, if it is down to the fact that they've got fossil fuel assets, if it is down to the fact that they've got fossil fuel assets, then that is malfeasance in public office, that is corruption. If the BBC end up killing people, then that's corporate manslaughter legislation. Now, I used to be a civil servant, and I know about talking to lawyers. And if the BBC need to understand that if they do not change, they will end up in court, that people like Tony Hall could be convicted of a criminal offence. And I asked to go and see the BBC, and they I asked to go and see the BBC with a small delegation, and they absolutely refused. There's no way they're going to show any interest in that whatsoever. Well, we're here today, and we're demanding to see them. I'm demanding to see them. I want to know why they are going to let my grandchildren be killed, why they are covering up the murder of 360,000 children a year. I demand to know why they're doing that. I want to be sure. If they think it's because you shouldn't be frightened, that is a stupid strategy. If you do not allow the people to know the truth, you've not given... If you don't allow the people to know the truth, you've not given them a chance to demand change. Because they haven't been given a chance to demand change, more people get killed. Well, I'm wrapping up now. And I tell you now, one thing only is on my mind. I want to know why they're fucking doing it, and I'm going there now to fucking demand an answer.
Thank you so much, Jonathan Fuller. Let's get a huge round of applause for Jonathan Fuller. Let's get a huge round of applause for Jonathan Fuller and everything he's done to research what the BBC are doing to cover up this climate crisis. Let's get a huge round of applause for Jonathan Fuller. Let's go.
BBC!
Came to the BBC and they need to tell the truth. Why are they covering up the truth? Hey, hi guys, I'm going there. It's very noisy here. Outside the BBC, asking them to tell the truth about climate change and climate breakdown. Hundreds of people are here. We've heard from some amazing speakers. Things are really hotting up here because literally it's really, really rousing. It's amazing. People are so passionate and crazy outside. There's an institution and we're all collectively we're not being able to have our say.
Just for this, for climate justice, because the climate change is differentially affecting people across the world. It's not like it's not just it's affecting everyone, and there's just not enough being done. And everyone deserves to know that it's happening instead of it being we need structural change. This isn't just about stopping using single-use bottles. This is a whole structural change, entire change. people want something to happen. Yeah, recognise that actually they need to do their duty and report on these issues and make it clear to the people of the UK what is going on, because if they were doing that, there would be thousands more people here today than there already are.
Thank you. I agree completely. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good day. I'll see you later.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.